So Minnesota is ranked number 2 for economic opportunity, number 5 for best overall state in America, and number 3 for Fortune 500 companies per capita. We have the number 1 ranked airport in the United States, as well as a whole other host of top 10 rankings. See, these are just a few of the reasons why I choose to live in Minnesota. Now, if you're here for a perspective from somebody who was born and raised here of why I continue to choose living here, then stay tuned because you are not going to want to miss this and find out why. What's going on, you guys? My name is Mackenzie Rasmus, aka your favorite Minnesota realtor with Engel and Volker's Lake Minnetonka. And today I'm going to be giving you guys a Minnesota's perspective of the main reasons why I continue to choose to live in the state of Minnesota. But be sure to stay to the end of the video because I'll be sharing some of the things that I really don't like about Minnesota that other people may not tell you about. But first, as always, before we get started, if you are thinking about moving to Minnesota, whether it be now or next year, then shoot me an email at MackenzieRasmus@EV Real Estate, and we'll schedule a meeting to come up with a plan for you to make your move as smooth as possible. All right. So number 1, the population. Now, let me first start off by saying that I was born and raised here in the Twin Cities and that I've actually been here for most of my entire life. But it wasn't until I lived out in Los Angeles for 8 years that I really started to appreciate Minnesota. Now, I think I know Minnesota gets a bad rap, and that's mostly because of our winters. See, it really deters people, and it's one of the main reasons why, and that is the population. Now, the population here really isn't that big compared to other major cities. In fact, the entire metro area is only the 16th largest in the entire country, while Minneapolis itself is only around the 45th largest city. Now, this is major to me because you never feel too crowded anywhere you go. Now, I have been to much bigger cities like Chicago, San Francisco, Houston. I've lived in Los Angeles. Getting around town can be such a hassle. We in Minnesota describe distances as miles. How far is it? It's about 20 miles, 30 miles from here. And you can literally correlate miles to minutes. You can translate it as if we just said it was 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I made that first mistake when I moved to Los Angeles saying, oh, it's 10 miles away. Should be like 10, 15 minutes, right? Nope. Having to constantly be crammed with people and having super long commute times drives me absolutely crazy. That is not something that we have to deal with here because getting around town, it's super easy and it rarely feels packed with people. It is much more comfortable to move around knowing that you don't have to deal with the big crowds. Reason number 2, active lifestyle and the outdoors. Minnesota is literally built around promoting activities and being outdoors. Now, when it comes to embracing the outdoors, I really don't think there is a state that does it better than we do. And I truly believe that because we do it all year round. Yes, even in the winter. Now, there are parks everywhere you turn, and there are also regional parks in the Twin Cities that are maintained by the Three Rivers Park District. And they have activities all that range from biking trails to snowboarding and everything in between. And if you like water activities, well, we're not called the land of 10,000 lakes for no reasons, people. You'll see people out there enjoying their boats and jet skiing and ice fishing and everything else that you can name. But it isn't just the Twin Cities area. See, there are places like Cununa, which is a biker's dream city because Cununa probably has some of the best mountain biking trails in the state. The Duluth area is great as well, with places like Gooseberry Falls for hiking and camping. Overall, there is no shortage of opportunities to be around nature and just enjoy being outside. And the best part of it is that you really don't have to travel too far for any of these, even if you're in the cities proper. My third reason is probably something that you've heard about me saying in previous videos, and that is that we have all 4 seasons. Now, honestly, this is something that I have just started appreciating more and more as I continue to travel to other places around the US. And again, I know that the main one that people are going to focus on is the winter, but in my opinion, the winter alone does not define Minnesota. Well, for one, the winters are good because it keeps us from being overpopulated, seeing how many people are either scared to move here because of it or they move out of Minnesota because they're sick of it. And realistically, I feel like our winters here make it, well, I just appreciate going on vacations even more, put it that way. They personally also make me want to do more activities in the summer because I know that we only get a few months of that warm weather. Fall is my favorite season here in Minnesota because all the nature gets even more beautiful when the leaves start changing colors. In fact, we have this popular map that shows where the colors are in the transition each year, and it's known as the color map. Now, the weather here, it's very mild, and therefore there are so many fall activities, from apple orchards to hay rides to pumpkin patches. And now that we're in October, we're going to be experiencing some fun Halloween activities as well. Now, I know my people from Texas are probably agreeing with me right now because the vast majority of people that I help move from there specifically move here because it's way too hot, which I can personally attest to, seeing how I was just in Austin in March and it was already 87 degrees out and humid. My fourth reason is that it is a great place to raise kids. Now, our education system is ranked fairly high, so if you have school-age kids, then you can trust that they'll get a great education they need here. Also, very friendly state when it comes to kids. There are a lot of cities in the Twin Cities that are geared towards inviting very kid-centric activities. There are plenty of things for kids to do, and we pretty much have every major sport here if your kids are into sports. Now, after having lived here again for most of my entire life and also having kids in my life, I find it very hard trying to picture myself being in as much of a kid-friendly state as Minnesota. Now, before we get into reason number 5, if you are finding this video helpful, please be sure to hit that like button for me, and don't forget to stick around if you want to find out what I am not so fond about in Minnesota. And also, if you live in Minnesota, then leave a comment below about some of the reasons that keep you here, or some of the reasons that are making you leave too. I'd be curious to know that as well. Okay, so reason number 5 for me would have to be how friendly the people here. Now, starting a conversation with a random stranger here is extremely easy, and people here are genuinely nice. Now, I've had instances in which my car has been broken down on the side of a busy street, and I have had, guys, multiple people stop and then offer to push me into a safe spot. I have gone to bars by myself and had whole conversations with randoms that ended up with me chilling with them all night. I've even had random people come up to me in a grocery store and ask me for what my workout routine is. I mean, can you blame them? Overall, most of the people here will greet you with a smile and help you in your time of need. You can feel pretty confident going places by yourself and having some kind of conversation with someone who will be able to have a full conversation with you without making you feel weird about it. But I do have a flip side to this one, which is what I'll also talk about now. The one thing that I never want to do is make Minnesota seem like this perfect place with unicorns dancing all around and nothing is negative. I'm sure that's not why you guys watch my videos. With that being said, let's talk about a few of my honest opinions on some of the things I just don't really like about Minnesota. So one thing about Minnesotans is that although we are very nice people, it can be hard for new people to get into our inner circle. So what do I mean by that? Well, you see, there's a saying about us that goes like this: Minnesotans will give you directions to anywhere but their house. You see, most Minnesotans were born and raised here, meaning they have a lot of close friends, that people that they went to school with, or sometimes even co-workers of ours. And seeing how we have such strong relationships with people that we already know, it can be hard for someone new to break into that fold. Now, I know that when I look at my current group of friends, specifically that my inner circle, they are either friends that I went to school with or friends of my friends, and people that I've been friends with for a very long time. Now, it's almost like Minnesotans get weary just letting any new person into their lives unless they have some type of endorsement from someone that they are already close with. Now, this can make it hard for new people moving here to form close bonds with people. But don't get me wrong, it can happen. Just don't expect someone you just met with to invite you over for dinner that first week. Now, the second thing that I don't like about Minnesota is the seasonal depression. And this is not something that I'm joking about. I'm sure I'll have some Minnesotans in the comments with me. Now, Minnesota does daylight savings time, which starts in the winter or ends in the winter, however it works. All I know is that daylight savings time here is stupid, okay? Just imagine it being super cold here, and on top of that, it gets dark around 5 p.m. every single day. Now, if you're someone who works that 9 to 5, meaning basically it's dark outside when you wake up and leave for work, and it's also dark when you get off of work and get home. Now, combine that with it being so cold out that you don't even want to do anything outside, and boom, you've got the perfect recipe for seasonal depression. Now, believe it or not, a lot of people here experience seasonal depression here during the winter, and it can be a little rough sometimes. I know for me, I don't necessarily make that mental note like, oh, I'm experiencing seasonal depression. It's more like when it gets to be bright and sunny and warm outside that I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so happy. Where did all these feelings come from? And that's when I realized that I wasn't feeling that way during the winter. Now, a lot of times you can find yourself with low energy during the winter and just not wanting to be active during that time period. See, most of the time you don't even realize it's happening until you get that nice sunny day out and all of a sudden you feel so energized with energy. During the winter, it is important to not isolate yourself because if you're in the house all day, it will drive you crazy. See, there are multiple events here throughout the year that embrace our winters, and I fully suggest people getting out and staying active during this time. So the third thing that I really don't like here is that, well, really, there isn't anything to do outside of the Twin Cities. See, in one of my more recent videos, I explained that when most Minnesotans are referring to the Twin Cities, they're actually referring to the entire metro area surrounding Minnesota and St. Paul, which covers roughly about a 30-minute radius. But once you get outside the Twin Cities, it starts to be pretty rural. And that also means that the selection of things to do can get fairly limited. Now, I have been in states like Texas and California that have multiple big cities and offer different experiences and endless things to do. For example, when I was in Austin earlier this year, we were actually thinking of taking a day trip to another major city. Now, we thought about it to maybe driving to Dallas and spending a couple of days there, which is, a couple hours away, but we didn't end up actually doing it. While we didn't end up actually doing it, it was just nice to have that option even if we wanted to. Meanwhile, here in Minnesota, an hour away will get you nothing but small towns and farmland. But luckily, the Twin Cities area, it's big enough to stay occupied with events and stuff that you will enjoy, even though you don't have to necessarily go too far outside of the Twin Cities. Now, we do have major cities outside of the metro area. We've got Rochester in the south. We've got Duluth to the north. We've got Fargo-Moorhead to the northwest. So there are places that you can spend time outside of the metro area. It's not that same big city feel if you were looking for that. Now, these are just some of the reasons why I don't particularly enjoy Minnesota, but I'd be curious to get to know your opinion. Do any of these resonate with you? Are there other reasons why you don't like Minnesota? How about my pros for moving to Minnesota? Any of those that you resonate with? I'd be curious to get to know your comments down below. Thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. When you subscribe, that then puts this video in front of other people like you that we may be able to help and share the love of the great North Star State, which at the end of the day, I do truly love. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.